You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chilson, and this is my top 20 films of 2021. Now, before we get into this countdown, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. Starting a brand new year, but before we can move on to the new film releases, we must first commemorate the year that was 2021 in film. And while, yeah, the year as a whole was trash, and here I am rocking some Betty White to honor her legacy. 2021 in terms of film was actually pretty great. There were a lot of amazing films this past year that I absolutely adored. So actually, I thought since there were so many films I absolutely loved, it led me to the decision to go ahead with my 21 favorite films of 2021. So there will be no honorable mentions this year because, well, that would just be outrageous now, wouldn't it? Now, before we get into the countdown, just a reminder this is only my personal top 21. These are not the 21 best films of the year, they're just my top 21. And I look forward to hearing your favorite films of the year, whether it be 21, 20, 10, however long you want to make your list. Make sure to just leave it in the comments below. Now, in total, I saw 140 new releases in 2021, so clearly I did not see all of the films, though I'd like to think I saw quite a bit. Thus, if a film isn't on here, there's a chance I didn't see it, or a chance that I just didn't love it as much as the rest. Yeah, there's quite a few of those too. But without further ado, let's kick things off with number 21. Kicking off our countdown is Godzilla vs. Kong. Oh, it pained me that this didn't actually make my official top 20 because I loved it so much. I had such a good time with Godzilla vs. Kong. Yeah, the human characters are still flimsy, though better, but the action was great. My boy Godzilla whooped that ass and provided the first big spectacle of the year. The movie that helped to restore movie theaters, Godzilla vs. Kong, you're a real one. So kicking off our top 20, I have Coda. This little film premiered at Sundance. I was able to watch it a little bit after that fact. It's a lovely film. It's one of those movies I just can't imagine anyone actively disliking. Performances are great. It gives a wonderful platform to the deaf community. Yeah, it's a pretty pedestrian story, but it's executed well enough that I had a good time. Settling in at number 19 is our first entry from Lin-Manuel Miranda, and that is Tick, Tick, Boom. I saw this film after all of the hype, after everybody was just raving and raving about it, and I saw what the hype was about. Now, it takes a little bit, that first act or so, actually, the first half of the film, it was cute. It was fun. It was nice. But once we really get into the meat of the overall implications, once De Jesus's character makes that revelation, it really hits home in a fantastic way. I wish the ending wasn't so rushed, though. It felt like we really sprinted through that final segment to the conclusion. But the acting is fantastic. The songs are great. Lin-Manuel Miranda does a wonderful job in his directorial debut. One of the best musicals in a year that was full of musicals. And yeah, Andrew Garfield, amazing in that lead role. In the 18th position, we kick off our superhero films of 2021 with Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. If you watched my comic book hero ranking, you'll know I really enjoyed this film. I love the fantastical elements, and it's the best action in a Marvel film, probably to date. It's amazingly well choreographed and shot. Have some problems with the humor, have some problems with development of the side characters and their overall relation, but overall, Shang-Chi was just a blast and really a refreshing revitalization for the MCU. My 17th position, I have the new Oscar villain of the year, which I don't understand, but it is Belfast. How a sweet, charming little film like Belfast can create such uproar when it comes to Best Picture, that's beyond me. But I really enjoyed this film. Now, upon a second watch, yeah, there are some pacing issues, and that middle portion drags out a little bit too long. But it's a beautiful love letter to home and to family from Kenneth Branagh in this semi autobiographical film. All of the performances are amazing. The cinematography is actually beautiful, and it's just a charming, heartfelt movie. In 16th, I have a film that really straddled the year of inclusion, and that is Judas and the Black Messiah. Yes, it won Academy Awards for 2020. However, it wasn't actually ever released anywhere until Sundance 2021, so it's getting included here. Talk about a film with a fantastic cast full of amazing performances, including both Lakeith Stanfield and Oscar-winning Daniel Kaluuya. Subject matter is heavy and deep. The true story elements are invigorating, and the way that Shaka King shot the film is absolutely visceral. The main reason it doesn't move into my top 15 is that I do think we have some structural problems with how the film is laid out, but it still is a pure tour de force when it comes to films based on actual events. Kicking off the top 15, I have Pig. Now, this was a film I was scared to watch. I was like, oh gosh, it's going to be that indie film I just don't understand. Nicolas Cage, we know y'all spotty record already. What? This absolutely took me by surprise. Nicolas Cage gives possibly the best performance of his career, and undoubtedly the best performance he's had in ages. The film is emotional. It obviously deals with grief in such an interesting manner. Alex Wolff is also really great here. It's a simple story, but one that really hit deep. Moving up into number 14, I have Petite Maman. From the wonderful director Celine Sciamma, Petite Maman is this really short film. It is just over an hour long that explores the idea of grief and mutual understanding between a daughter and her mother, and does so in such a beautifully fascinating way. The story is unique and innovative. The young actresses are both an absolute delight, and the cinematography and screenplay beautifully craft this small, contained story that has so much packed in. And yes, although it didn't crack my top 10, I adored Petite Maman. And it certainly has moved Miss Celine Sciamma way up on my favorite directors list. After these last couple of features, yeah, she's one to watch every time. Sliding in at number 13, I have Come On, Come On. Another really endearing independent film from this year, coming from Mike Mills. Come On was quite the shock as well. Every time I go into these indie darlings, I enter with trepidation because so often all of film Twitter are ablaze and just adoring these little films, and I leave like, okay. But Come On was the real deal. Joaquin Phoenix is so awkwardly endearing and charming here. His connection to that little boy, his nephew, is amazing. And oh, by the time we get to that damn ending, my heart was being wrenched from my chest. But honestly, it completely strides on the relationship between these two characters, and they have great chemistry. Emotional beats work very well. I was fully invested in this film. Coming back for film number 2 on the countdown at number 12, Lin-Manuel Miranda returns with Encanto. Now, if you watched my animated film ranking, you'll know that upon first watch, I enjoyed Encanto, but I wasn't in love with the film. But I've now seen it 3 times in the movie theaters, and each subsequent viewing, I find myself falling more and more in love with this film. From small details about grief and the family dynamic to the beautiful animation and these songs that are so insanely catchy. Come on now, everybody is still talking about We Don't Talk About Bruno. But Mirabel is a beautiful, relatable character. I personally love me some Luisa, and Anthony is probably the most adorable thing that was on my screen in 2021. Just missing out on our top 10. Coming in at number 11, I have Last Night in Soho. Edgar Wright just does it again. A stylish, slick, period piece horror extravaganza. I loved Last Night in Soho. As we built up that first act, it really invests you in the mystery of it all. And then the way Edgar Wright does these dual timelines with Anya Taylor-Joy and Thomasin McKenzie is amazing. I thought it was fantastic. It looks absolutely stunning. The color palettes are always amazing with Edgar Wright. The sound design is always amazing, and the soundtracks are always fantastic. And there were no exceptions here. The late icon Diana Rigg gives a wonderful final performance, as do Anya Taylor-Joy and Thomasin McKenzie. And yeah, some people don't like that third act, but I was fully on board. I like when we just let loose, go wild, and let it all out. And that's what this film ultimately gets to. Last Night in Soho was one of my personal favorite viewing experiences in that cinema this year. Cracking my top 10, kicking off the upper tiers of this list, I have Raya and the Last Dragon. I instantly fell in love with this animated film from Disney Animation Studios. Raya is such an awesome protagonist. Her relationship with Namari is really complex and interesting for a Disney film. Chuk chuk. Oh, what a legend. Plus, that original score is still being slept on. Why? Oh, it's one of my favorite original scores of 2021. The animation obviously is stunning, and they provide possibly the best like actual hand-to-hand combat fighting I've seen in a Western animated film ever. It's amazing. The journey and the story itself, of course, we've seen before, but it's delivered wonderfully, and I love the end message of it all. Call me a Disney shill, I guess, but I thought Raya and the Last Dragon was just wonderful. Serving it up at number 9, I have King Richard. As a mega fan of both Venus and Serena Williams, I was actually quite nervous heading into King Richard. I was certainly on the side of, I wish we were getting a story about Venus and Serena, but ultimately, I was won over by the film itself. The sisters obviously have a huge adoration for their father. I've known this for the longest. It's a wonderful ode to the work that their parents did. I love that Oracene got her time to shine as well. But honestly, the story stays pretty damn faithful to the actual story of Venus and Serena and how they got into tennis. It's one of the most amazing stories in all of sports. The film does it justice. The acting is amazing, top to bottom. Not only do these little girls look just like Venus and Serena when they were small, but they both deliver stellar performances. Ingenue Ellis is amazing in her supporting role. John Bernthal, one of his best performances in a minute. And of course, Will Smith absolutely kills it as Richard Williams. Honestly, it jumped up to be one of the top sports films of all time for me. Swinging in at number 8, I have Spider-Man No Way Home. I really bounced around on where to put Spider-Man No Way Home. I ended up settling in at number 8 because, well, there are certainly issues, particularly the first act. Not my favorite. It very much feels like the John Watts, Far From Home, Homecoming type of stuff. It really struggled to find tone. But as soon as it does, after we get past all of the jokiness and the villains start to get introduced, this film fires on all cylinders for a Spider-Man flick. Action is fire. The acting performances are amazing. Particularly, Tom Holland gives one of my personal favorite male performances of the entire year. He's that good here. And the script does a really good job of centering everything on Peter Parker, Tom Holland's Peter Parker. As we have all these people and all these things and all this action going on, it's still about his journey. It's still about his arc and him discovering himself through everything. And all of the elements that are added into the film are added for the purpose of Tom Holland's Peter Parker story. And I thought that was just amazing. I'm more and more in awe as I see it and as I think about it on how they were able to pull off a story like this in such a fantastic manner. Dancing in to number 7, we have Lin-Manuel Miranda once again, his third appearance on the list, with In the Heights. By far, easily my favorite musical film of 2021. It gave me everything I want from a good musical. The choreography is all amazing. The set pieces for the dance musical numbers are grand and gorgeous. We get this beautiful camera work, stunningly captures all of these vibrant moments, from swimming pools to streets to sides of buildings. Honestly, no other film in 2021 captured grand musical moments in this fashion. That's right, I'm looking at you, West Side Story. Not even you. The music was insanely catchy right from the get-go. I wasn't familiar with the actual Broadway musical, and I caught on quick because these musical numbers were so damn good. The acting performances were fantastic, particularly Anthony Ramos in a star-making role, and Olga Mercedes, oh, she still has my heart. But of course, we can all agree representation could have been handled better. However, just as a little Latino boy myself, seeing a film like this just purely celebrate culture, and not just like Mexican culture, not just Puerto Rican culture, not just Cuban culture, it's all of them. Celebrating us as a group of people was really something special for me, and is definitely part of the reason why In the Heights has remained one of my favorite films of the year. Stepping in at number 6 on my list, I have Spencer. Pablo Duran, you do it again. I loved Jackie, and yes, I love Spencer as well. Kristen Stewart is amazing in our leading role here as Princess Diana. Really, the entire cast is fantastic in this film. Obviously, the costumes are stunning. Cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. While there are aspects of the script that I find a little bit overwrought, or the original score, which I find a lot overwrought actually, that keep it from bumping into my top 5, atmosphere, the haunting, impending doom and dread that just slowly squeezes you as you watch this film is intoxicating. What a way to tell someone's story, to give us a fabled version, or really a horror version of real life events. Oh, it was really beautiful filmmaking and one of the most effective film experiences of 2021. Driving in at number 5, I have The Mitchells vs. the Machines. Long delayed Sony animated picture. We were all beginning to wonder, were we ever going to see this film? But ultimately, thank goodness we did, because what a freaking treat it was. Easily my favorite animated film of 2021. The Mitchells vs. the Machines delivered the laughs that I was expecting from a Lord and Miller project. It delivered really innovative, fun animation. Underneath it all, what I wasn't expecting was this really heartfelt, beautiful story about family, the connection from mother to daughter, the connection to brother to sister, and ultimately this beautiful connection between father daughter. Mitchell's vs. the Machines gave me everything I look for in a great animated film, and then some. What a surprise! And at number 4, I have Mass. Possibly the most difficult to sit through viewing experience, but for all the right reasons. I recently rewatched this film, and honestly, it's a complete tour de force in acting. All 4 of these actors should be pretty damn near slam dunks when it comes to Academy Award consideration. Instead, they're on the outskirts looking in, and I'm racking my brain. What a fantastic screenplay to keep your attention. It grabs you from the moment the 2 pairs of parents walk into that room. You are instantly grabbed, gripped, and even pulled tighter as the events start to unfold. You realize what they're discussing and what's going on, and it just keeps you captivated, start to finish. You can't take your eyes or your ears off of what's happening. It's absolutely stellar filmmaking to take place pretty much all in a single little room, just 4 people talking. And to be one of the most captivating and awe-inspiring films of the year is really, really something special. Soaring in at number 3, I have Doom. Yes, the blockbuster event of the season, and quite possibly the only blockbuster event that is going to be in the awards discussion. I loved Dune. I think it was pretty fantastic to take this dense, really heady, dry source material and make an epic scaled fantasy film like this is something to see. And honestly, I think it improves upon the original text. It certainly is miles better than that 80s adaptation, but it adds a level of humanity and connection that I think is missing in so much of the other iterations when it comes to Dune, including the source book. Timothée Chalamet is fantastic as Paul. Others have not agreed, but I really thought he embodied this character and brought so much to him. Oscar Isaac brings a level of warmth and humanity to Duke Leto that we've not seen, and Jason Momoa completely transforms and elevates Duncan Idaho to become all of our favorite character of the movie. Not to mention, Rebecca Ferguson is absolutely stellar as Lady Jessica. The visual effects are untouched. Nothing else even really came close in terms of special effects and scale. The absolute grandiose nature of this film is awe-inspiring. Hans Zimmer's score is fantastic, and then Denis Villeneuve's direction is pure beauty to just watch and experience. And that's what Dune is. It's truly just an experience of cinema. Again, at number 2, I have The Green Knight. David Lowery absolutely hit it out of the park with The Green Knight. We finally have a stellar adaptation of a King Arthur fable. Yes, we've had some okay ones or even good adaptations before, but nothing has ever come close to matching what The Green Knight put to screen. It is stunning. The cinematography is some of the best of 2021. And if they leave this out of the cinematography nominations, I'll be rioting. Just know that. Dev Patel delivers an amazing performance, proving he can certainly be a leading man of any type of film. Alicia Vikander gives her best performance in some time here. The visual effects are beautiful. The practical makeup work is absolutely stunning. The story really weaves the origins and the messaging from the original Egwene and the Green Knight fable and melds them in with a new imagining of these tales. I think it is absolutely fantastic. It's one of the best screenplays of the year. Our cast, top to bottom, is fantastic. And David Lowery presents one of the most stunning films of the year. Not to mention that last act, those last 15 minutes, my jaw dropped to the floor and I couldn't pick it up for a good 30 minutes after those credits had started rolling. Easily the best ending to any film in 2021. I adored The Green Knight, and I wish it was more in this awards discussion, but oh well, I've got it on 4K. I can love it over and over again all by myself. And here it is, finally, the moment we have all been waiting for. My favorite film of 2021 is Eternals. I know, it is a hot take, a controversial opinion. Most people didn't even like this movie. Critics certainly didn't, and fans were divided, but I don't care. I absolutely adored Eternals from start to finish. I love this film. I ended up seeing it 5 times in the movie theaters and loved it just as much upon each and every subsequent viewing. This cast is all wonderful, and it really brought to life these beautiful characters who we don't often get to see on screen. I felt completely and totally empowered and invigorated just seeing this beautifully diverse group of superheroes working together here in Eternal. Beyond that, I love the messaging of the film. It's not about a big battle to conclude a Marvel film. It's not about taking down the bad guy. It's about humanity, and it's about love and connection with one another saving the day. And I just found that to be extremely special. Chloe Zhao puts her stamp on an MCU film with the most gorgeous Marvel movie, period. No other MCU film even comes close to looking as good as Eternals looked. That original score from Ramin Djawadi is amazing, and he delivered one of my favorite themes for any of these comic book films in recent memory with that Eternals theme. Oh, visual effects are gorgeous. The cinematography is beautiful. Action is a lot of fun. And while often I don't love a back and forth storyline, when it's handled like this, I honestly didn't mind it. I enjoyed getting to spend time with all of these characters and getting to experience their time on Earth with humanity was something special. Honestly, I can understand some of the gripes and some of people's problems with the film. Others I do not understand, and I think people were reaching real hard. And at the end of the day, I honestly just don't care because I connected to Eternals on a level I just didn't connect with any other film in 2021. So I really grappled with, can I really put Eternals as my favorite film of 2021? But when I look back on the year, nothing landed with me like Eternals did. I had no choice. No other film would feel right in this top spot. That's it. That's my ranking. Those are my favorite 21 films of 2021. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. I know, my list is quite controversial. Let's discuss, let's have a fun conversation. And most importantly, make sure to leave your list of your favorite films of the year in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.